everybody here from industry, military, and civilians, and we can talk and share information. And today we have a wonderful presenter we'll introduce in a few moments. But first, I just want to do a couple announcements. So we have some scholarships to offer for students who are entering college. If you're interested in this, if you want more information, contact me. I'll get you in touch with the right person, and we will get you the information for submittal. The deadline's coming up pretty soon. I don't have the exact date at the moment. It'll be in the next couple of months. We are taking nominations for our next board. The board usually runs from about May, June until the following May, June. So we're looking for a president, vice presidents, military and civilian, secretary and treasurer. And we have interested parties already, but if you're interested, please contact me. We would love to put you in the running and talk to you and have you join our team. We also are looking for chairs, so chairman. We run lots of volunteer activities, volunteer events. The programs chair who puts together all of these member events, and we have a lot of items that we could use help with. And you can be, it's a great and wonderful way to be in contact with the community. We had a really successful STEM event this last February, and we're looking at hosting another one. It's going to come up this fall, so be on the lookout for that at Ramstein High School. And then just a quick announcement about our upcoming program. So in April, we have Brigadier General Kale, who's visiting. That'll be a limited attendance. So we'll get you more information about that, but that's going to be the mandatory RSVP, and it'll be a smaller crowd. We have a smaller venue for that. May is open. We have a few ideas, but if you have something you would like to see on the program in May, please contact me. We will try to work that out. If you have any interest in helping support facilitating that, we'd love that too. June, we're looking at doing a presentation with the other posts and possibly broadcasting from Stuttgart. They have indicated that they would like to be more involved with family, and they don't have to. So we were looking at doing some takeaways from Betsy and doing a presentation, probably a hybrid model. July is open and August is our golf tournament. And Mr. Al Luft is running that, and I don't see him here in person today, but I can get in touch with him, and we'll be distributing info to sign up for that soon. And then a call for sustaining members. So our sustaining members are a huge part, and I see a lot of your faces here today, which is wonderful. So if you'd like to be spotlighted at the beginning of any of our upcoming meetings, we'd love to take your information and have you stand up here and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you guys do. And then finally, two upcoming events. We have JETSI Joint Engineer Training Conference. That's going to be held the 2nd through the 4th of May. And the Post Leadership Workshop, which is in Florida, and that is the 6th through the 8th of August. So now you're caught up. We should have time for questions at the end. So if you have anything that you'd like to hear about or things come, just write them down and we'll have a little question session at the end. But otherwise, I'd really like to present and introduce our speaker today. So Mr. Norbert Krugel. He's the director of the LVB Kaiserslautern. They are our host nation partners here for the U.S. forces. And I'll let him tell you a lot more about what he's going to do. But we've known each other a long time, and Mr. Krugel is a wonderful person. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Mrs. President said I should do the presentation in English, so I try to do it with my poor English. It's a little rusty after 3 years of COVID isolation. But I learned during the groundbreaking of the KMCC 20 years ago, an official member of the Federal Ministry of Construction said I cannot speak in English. I will speak in German very slowly so you can understand me. I will do the same. Okay. Why are German authorities involved in the construction projects of the US forces here in Germany? I have to distress you with some boring legal basis. 70 years ago, the first you can see, we have base for construction projects, the Convention on the Presence of Foreign Forces in the Federal Republic. It's not only for US, it's for the Belgian, it's for the French, it's for the other forces in Germany also. 70 years ago, this was the first paper, which is a basement for our teamwork we have to do. And you can see from the entry, and yes, the laws of the receiving state shall determine the rights and obligations. This is also, we will come later to this, if the US forces are doing projects by themselves. It's the same basement. The German law is the first law we have to fulfill. Then we have a supplementary agreement, and in the Article 49, there is described the construction projects, the repair and the maintenance. And you can see construction projects, the construction work shall be carried out by the German authorities. That's the basement why we are involved in the big projects for the US forces, for the Air Force, for the Army, for net funds, or for other projects you are doing in the German Republic. And then our main basement is the ABG 75. It's called ABG, that's a shortcut for the German word, Auftragsbauten Grundsätze. And here in English, principles of construction, ABG 75 because they were written in the year 1975. They were signed in the year 1982, so we need a little time to do the signature. And there, also in the Article 4, you can see, very important, the German laws and the German regulations should be the basement also for the US projects. In the ABG 75, if we are doing the project for the US, it's called the indirect procedure, but the US forces also have the chance to do procedures by their own. That's the so-called direct procedures. And there were some limited, it's the sum of the costs are only little projects normally allowed, or you have special equipment inside, which is a safety condition, rooms or other things. So in this case, you can do projects by yourself. But again, also you have to recognize and you have to fulfill the regulations of the German laws. There we have, I talked to Mr. Günther, we will have a meeting next week. So we have the situation, you are doing the projects by your own, but you have to give us the information that we can look for the necessary legal procedures and that we will get all legal permits we need for this project, also if you're doing by yourself. So this works for approximately 65 years. And 5-6 years ago, there came a big workload to the German authorities. For example, in Baumholder, some years there was a discussion, will the Baumholder area be closed? Will the US go away from Baumholder? So our colleagues in Ida Oberstein, which are responsible for Baumholder, they reduced the personnel because it was expected that maybe Baumholder will be closed from the US forces. And then there came a program, $350 million in a very short time. And so we did not have enough personnel in our subsidiary in Niederstein to do all this work. And there was a discussion on the upper levels, how can we do this work also, even if the German authorities do not have enough personnel. And so we have a new agreement. It's called accelerated procedure. It's not a wrong name, because accelerated, you came to the opinion, okay, we can be faster. This is not the reason. The reason was that we will use all instruments and all personnel if the German authorities cannot do these projects. And if the US forces has the capacity to do the project, so we can look for this project, and there are some frame conditions they have to fulfill, and then the US forces can do these projects, even if they are bigger than the APG 75 named this project. So we try to do this, all the instruments and all the personnel on both sides, so much project or so many projects we can do. This was the reason for this procedure, and this was in the year 19, and it was only for 1 year. And then we was agreed we will have an evaluation. Will this system work? Can we do the same, or should we close the books? And then in the year 21, we have an extension of this. Now we have no time limit. It's unlimited, this acceleration procedure, but both sides can cancel this contract. So we try to do this because there are a lot of projects from the US forces. Also, we do not have enough personnel at the moment. You know, the construction branch is under pressure since 5, 6, 7 years. We do not find enough engineers. We do not find enough workers for the construction firms. And so we have a lot of pressure. And based on this, and simultaneously, you have a lot of projects, and the German Bundeswehr also have a lot of projects. So we try to use any instrument to realize as much project as we can. You see, two very important guys designed this acceleration procedure. And so we have these extensions in December of 21 with no time limit. So this is the third twice or the third chance we can do projects. Indirect procedure we are doing as a German government, as a German authority, in our own name, in our own responsibility. That means during the construction works, this is our responsibility. And when the construction work is done, we have to turn over, and then the US side can take this project and can use this project. But during the construction process, the German authority is in charge for this. The second, we have this direct procedure based on the HG 75. You can do small works by yourself or maintenance or so. And the third now is this acceleration procedure we have as a new contract to buffer this workload. So these are our main legal basis we have to work. And you see, German bureaucracy is great. US bureaucracy is much better. And to overlay both, it's chaos sometimes. And so, but we have to work, we have to execute, and we have to bring all these projects to a good end, and that we have a turnover with a good and functional building at least. So, these are the legal basis. And I have to explain you, here in Germany, we have federalism. You know, US, you have 50 states plus Washington, D.C. Germany have 16 different states. Any states have own laws. So we have to look where is the construction project. It's in Bavaria, or it's in Hessen, or it's in Rhineland-Palatinate. So we have different state laws we have to fulfill. How can I explain German federalism? I think here is the So you can see, any state has their own beer, so any state has their own construction law. So we are in the state of Bitburger. Okay, Saarland is Karlsberg, and so how we have own beer sorts, so we have our own construction. I want to introduce my firm a little bit. This firm is a state Rhineland-Palatinate organization. So that means I'm on the payroll of the state Rhineland-Palatinate because we have an internal agreement in Germany. The Federal Republic will not build up own organizations for these construction projects. They use the state organization for the construction projects. In the background, they pay us, but I get my money from the state Rhineland-Palatinate, and the state Rhineland-Palatinate get money from the Federal Republic of Germany. So here we have we have 8 subsidiary plus 1 central in Mainz. The US forces work with Kaiserslautern. We have, I think, the most US projects. Then we have Ida Oberstein for the Smith Barracks for Baumholder. We have our subsidiary in Trier for the airbase Spangdahlem, and we have Landau for Germersheim. So these are the 4 subsidiaries which are working most for the US forces. At the moment, we are approximately 1,400 employees. We have own buildings for the state Rhineland-Palatinate in our ownership, a little more than 1,600. And last year we had, or you can see for the construction project of the Federal Republic, US and NATO, it's more than 50%. It's up to 60% at the moment because we have big programs from the German Bundeswehr, and we have big projects also from the US forces. These are our range of tests. What we are doing, most important for you is we are doing the project coordination. We are doing the project lead. We are doing by our own also design from architects and engineers. We are doing the construction process. And for the big projects, we are hiring 3 architects and engineers. So we pay them a lot of money also that they are doing the design and overview during the construction for us. That's our building where we are listed, and that's our areas of activity, the county, Kusel, Kaiserslautern, Pirmasens, and the independent cities, Kaiserslautern, Zweibrücken, Pirmasens. And you can see last year, this is our cake. Last year, we had a little more than 50% of our construction money for the buildings of Rhineland-Palatinate. Normally, we have 2/3 up to 75% for the federal buildings. That means for the US buildings. Until 5 years ago, we did not have project from the US, from the German. We got a lot of projects from the US forces, the relocation from the Rhine-Main Air Base, a 10-year housing program, more than 450 million euro. Such projects like KMCC. We renewed the phase of the airbase Ramstein during the years from 2000 to 2030 tremendously. And so this were the situation that we had up to 75% US money in our construction money. Now we have a lot of huge projects for the university in Kaiserslautern and the Hochschule Kaiserslautern. And so the cake shift a little bit. In the next years, we will have more up to 65–70% for the federal buildings. That means for the US buildings and the Bundeswehr. You all know your installation better than I. We are responsible for all these installations in our area without the hospital in Weilerbach. The hospital in Weilerbach is such a huge project, so we founded a new Niederlassung. It's called Niederlassung Weilerbach. They are doing as own project the big hospital. All the other US projects are in our subsidiary in Kaiserslautern. This was the main focus for some years. You know this installation from the airbase in Ramstein, and the last let's see. The last big project we could turn over to you was the Ramstein High School last year for more than 60 million euro. Some examples of the projects we did in the past for the US forces. You know the Kaiserslautern military community. This was one of the biggest single projects we did in the last 20 years. We did the NATO headquarters, the design of the NATO headquarters, the design of an LBB architect. We did the design first, and then we hired additional architects and engineers to complete this team. And this was done by single lots, not a general contractor. Normally, we are doing the federal projects for Germany in single lots. That means, for example, Ramstein High School, 63 million euro, and one general contractor. Yesterday, we had a meeting with our LVD Fox on the Hochschule Kaiserslautern. There we had 4 projects for approximately 90 million euros, and we have 340 construction contracts. That's the difference. That means much more coordination in the German projects than the US projects, because we are not allowed, or we are only in some cases allowed to hire a general contractor. This was the housing project, 10-year housing project. We started with the renovation of the stairwell buildings, and after 2 years, we had a lot of discussions with the responsible organizations of the US forces, and we said, hey, you have so much money, why do you renovate the stairwells? You will have a higher quality for your people if we can demolish them and we can build single and row and double and row houses. So it's much more quality for the families which will live in this thing. So for the next 8 years, we demolished a lot of the stairwells and we built this single and row houses you see now in Bremstein, in Kaiserslautern, Vogelweh, in Landstuhl. The Weilerbach Hospital, again, this is the own subsidiary we founded for this hospital, and when the hospital is finished, then we will integrate these people back in the static organization we have. That's the plan at the moment. The biggest project or the biggest program we are working at the moment for the US forces are the schools, for the 21st century schools. We have, this was 2012 from Dolia, and it said we have more than 3 billion euro in Europe, and we had here 10 projects in Rhineland-Palatinate. You can see half of this money from Germany is in Rhineland-Palatinate. Here in Kaiserslautern, we are working for 7 schools. I will present it with the next sheets. The colleagues in Trier are working for the schools in St. Gallen, and the colleagues in Niederauerstein are working for the schools in Baumholder. This is the biggest program at the moment. We have an own team only working for this school designs. That's our Vogelweh High School. This was a school we finished first, and you can see it. And I guess this is an advantage. The US school can be seen also from the German people, because it's in the middle of the town of Kaiserslautern. And when you are coming from the Oppelkreis and you are driving to Kaiserslautern, you have to look to the school. Normally your schools are in the restricted area and only you can see it, but here in this case the German people can also see the US school. And so we are very proud of this school. This was the first school we finished, and the response we heard from the teachers and from the students was very positive. Some impressions, the technical centrals, and also the sports teams. The second school we finished was Kaiserslautern Elementary School. In this case, we also share our forces. Kaiserslautern had not enough manpower when this school starts, so the design was done by the subsidiary in Niederauerstein, and when the design was finished, the construction shift to the subsidiary of Kaiserslautern, and we did the construction work and the overview for the construction work of this Kaiserslautern Elementary School. So we tried to combine our forces also to do as many projects as we can do. The third school we could finish is the Ramstein Air Base High School. I'm sure you saw it the last time. And so this was the school for more than 63 million. And then we get some modifications after the turnover. So meanwhile, we have approximately 17 million euro construction costs for this school. Under construction at the moment, the Sembach Elementary School. So I have to visit this school because I did not see it for the next 2 months. So Mr. Seiler, I will come for a new project to visit this area also. This is the school we have under construction at the moment. And then we have 3 additional schools which are under design, and we are completed design. For the Landstuhl Elementary, at the moment, we complete the corrected final. We had a phase 1 to prepare the location. And at the moment we prepared, or the design was finished from our side, so we are waiting for the okay from the US side that we can go to the market, that hopefully we can give the contract in 6 or 7 months, that we can sign the contract with the general contractor for the next project for the Landstuhl Elementary School. The next school which is under design at the moment is the Kaiserslautern Middle School. You can see some renderings here. Here we are also nearly at the end of the design, and we hope that we can do the way to the market this year, that we can sign the contract also end of this year. This will be the second school. And the third school we have under design at the moment is the Ramstein Middle School. And this may be 2 or 3 months later, but then the timelines will work, and then when we will get the agreement from the US side, maybe we will have these 3 schools plus the Sempach Elementary School under construction next year. That means 4 very, very big projects under construction at the same time. Okay, projects we did is for the hangar for the C-130s here. You can see the steel beam, more than 100 meters. And here you can see the form extinguishing system. I think this is the name. It was like a party in Mallorca when we tested it. This was done from the subsidiary Ida Oberstein because Kaiserslautern had at this time not enough capacities. At this time, I was also the head of Ida Oberstein, so I know the Ramstein projects, and I try to get some Ramstein CapEx projects also to Ida Oberstein, and this C-130 hangar was one of them. I want to show you some other projects which are not US Force projects. We are not working only for the US forces. You can see the Technical University in Kaiserslautern. They have now a new name. I have to learn this new name. It's Rheinland-Pfälzische Technische Universität Kaiserslautern. It's horrible. Okay. You can see that's the area of the Technical University of Kaiserslautern. And in the past, we had 2 very interesting buildings there. Here we built a new building called LACE, Laboratory for Advanced Spin Engineering. It's a research building, and they are looking for the magnetic impulse for the SSDs, for the chips or other things. Very challenging because we have a lot of clean rooms in this project. So you can see the facades, and here a look in the inside of the building. You can see these are clean rooms we have to do with a special light. We have big dimensions of technical centrals. We have to look for a temperature stability, plus minus 1 degree Kelvin, in some cases plus minus 0.1 Kelvin. So very, very high or very challenging technical requests. We have to look for that they are shockproof because we have a road in the neighborhood, and when the buses are driving over the road, these are very sensitive tests they are doing there. So we had to create a concrete plate with 1 meter thickness as a foundation. So different requests, and so we are nearly, we said in German, under the ceiling of the technical reality. But a very interesting project, and we finished it for 2 years ago, 45 million euro. At the moment, we have a second research building under construction. It's called Laboratory for Precise Manufacturing Engineering. And at the moment, we are under construction. We try to finish this project until the end of this year. But in this project, we have a very, very complicated technique. So we have a so-called Inbetriebnahme management. That means we start the test of all these technical systems, and then we can have a turnover when the technical systems fulfill the request from our construction contract. And then we have 1 additional year when the users are in the building, when the users bring in all their equipment, and then we have the fine-tuning of all this complicated technique. So we try to do anything that we can complete this building at the end of this year. A little project, but it's very important for us because this is the first project we could do with a general contractor for the state run Platinum. This is the building or the building for a computer tomograph for the civil engineering branch, and they want to screen construction components, reinforced concrete until up to a thickness of 30 centimeter until of a length of 6 meters. So that's a really big computer tomograph. A little park house we did there. This is the Hochschule Kaiserslautern, an old spinning mill in the past, and now we are doing a conversion to a new campus of the Hochschule Kaiserslautern. And at the moment, it's the cost of 145 million euros. Here you can see the canteen. Some impressions of our new big work, and there we have a listed facade. So we had to do this facade in the old way with the old painting, with the old sandstone, and with the old windows. It was really challenging to fulfill all those requests for this time. Some impressions of the new buildings there. So long-lasting contracts with our renting tenants, with our tenants, the prison in Zweibrücke. We are also doing the German anti-riot police in Ingenbach-Alsenborn. These are complete areas, and these are the two areas we are doing for the German Bundeswehr. This is the Niederauerbach-Kaserne in Zweibrücken. There we have a development program of approximately nearly 300 million euro we should do for the next 15 years. And the next project, we have to reactivate the ammunition depot in Kriegsfeld. This is very interesting based on the legal procedures because this was given back first from the US forces to the German Bundeswehr, then from the German Bundeswehr to the Federal Republic. The forest took it. Now we have a nature protection area in this in 350 hectares. It's a big area, and we have to reactivate this ammunition depot in a really short time. And for this, to prepare this, we have to do a lot of German legal procedures to get the permits. Okay, police inspections. So this is the range of the projects we are doing. I said to our guys, when a new architect starts for us, we are doing from the dock handle until the runway, we can do alles because these are all these things are projects which will come to us. Okay, for the future, the next projects we have to do the schools I showed to you, and new project we will have to go back because this is the Pirmasens storage warehouse. So we have to convert this army location to the uses of the Air Force. So this is a big new project which came in January to us. At the moment, we are preparing all the things for the search for the studies we have to do. We are looking for the architects and engineers, and we try to clarify what should we do there because there are some question marks. So this is a little ride through our projects and a little explanation why German authorities are involved in US forces in the US projects. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions, please, I try to do it in English or in German. Thank you.
I have a question. So you're doing a series of schools. I was wondering if there's anything you learned from doing the first couple of schools that you've applied to the latter schools, or any interesting innovations that you've seen come down that you'd like to share?
We learned a lot based on the construction things. And then we have Dodia, which have a very high flying spirit, and they have new ideas at any new school. So sometimes it's the case, innovations from the construction side or innovations from this system or from this philosophy of the 21st century. So we had these hubs, we had the common areas, or so we learned from these different schools, but Dodia also have new ideas also, that at any new school, we have a basement, we have the same, but we have also the modifications which came in for this. And again, the Booking High School, I guess 3 or 4 years. We had a turnover, so they have 3 or 4 years experience how the use of the school will work for the students and the teachers. But Dodia has this worldwide program, and they bring also their experience from schools which were built in other countries. And so sometimes we did not know the background for these changes. So we try to transfer this in construction.
I have a question. Right, the FNP work on the project for the US. You do the other coordination of the regulations, and I know that you will become an FNP for that. How much is that?
Okay, so we are very cheap for the US forces. Because based on the APG 75, there is this fee what the US side pays for us. These are 5.6% of the construction costs for new projects and 7.5% for the construction costs of renovations. The realistic fee cost we pay to the architects and engineers, or our efforts, depends from the project between 25 and 35%. So that means the difference is paid by the Federal Republic of Germany. In the newspaper some years ago, there was a number of 120 million euro the Federal Republic have to pay as this fee difference for the hospital in Weiler, because this is such a big project. And so this is also business of us. APG 75 was based on the legal frame conditions on the 1975. We have a lot of changes, and the US forces also want to have a lot of more designs or studies also. And so we created this term additional services, and meanwhile we have a list for more than 50 different additional services we request from the US side. This fee of 5.6 plus this additional services which were not involved in the fee at the year 1975, because there did not exist a lot of nature laws, a lot of other laws did not exist at 1975. Request a lot of design work at the moment, and so we said it's not covered by the fee. Your side has to pay additional services, and we had a lot of discussions for this. No? We had a working group more than 3 years to create this list of this 50 additional services to have agreement between the US side and the German side that this is not covered by the fees.
See, term accelerated is what you touched on in the beginning. So a lot of people that have worked in Germany or been here for a while, you're used to the indirect. Now we have this other model of the accelerated procedure. And like Herbal mentioned, it doesn't necessarily mean that the move faster, but it just means that it's not going to be in a long line of queue because the whole station doesn't have the personnel to execute it. So now we can use US forces to execute some projects, but we still have to apply, the US forces have to apply to the whole station to say, can we do this project? We have to do it for every single project. There's a whole list of regulations that have been developed. When we submit that and say, we do this, and once that's approved, then we still pay the host nation a percentage, and it is a very low percentage, so that they can put personnel on the project, help us with permitting, do all of the things that we still have to make sure to meet the host nation regulations. But it also just something to keep in mind is that when we do the accelerated, at least for Milltown projects, when we're doing it through an indirect, the US forces are paying a lot less money because we are only paying a small percentage. Taking up that. When we do the accelerated, that means that the US forces are paying the AE directly, and so we are paying full amount coming out of the US budget, and we're paying a very small amount to have them. So it's just something that it's gonna continue, you'll see it more and more in the future, and that's something that some people may be really familiar with, might not be yet. So just wanted to point that out.
I have a question online from Corinne Murphy asking, how is it decided whether to perform US projects through the indirect process or the AP process?
In the ABG 75, we have a list of frame conditions. Under these frame conditions, only under these frame conditions, you can do it in a direct procedure. The normal way is to do it in the indirect procedure. That means it's the cost, and maybe it's maintenance or maybe it's other, but this is laid down in the ABG 75. And these are the reasons how we do it, the decision. Normal way is to do it in the indirect procedure through the German authorities.
So the accelerated procedure is really a question of capacity that makes that determination?
It's a question of capacity, and we can, the US side can do bigger projects also from the coast, but we have some frame conditions. These should be projects which are not complex in the legal procedures. Even if we have complex legal procedures, because we have to take care that we have all the permits in accordance to the German law we need. So that is, if we have complex, if we have difficult legal procedures, no, that's not a project for the accelerated. If you're changing carpet for 4 million euro, please do it. So, for example. And as Ms. Riege pointed out, even in the direct procedure or in the acceleration procedure, we as the German authority have to take care that we have all legal permits we need. That means our project manager in the first step should define or should evaluate which legal procedures are necessary for this. We have to look that when we are doing this, that we have the procedures and that we have all the permits before we start the project. And for the US project, it's the same. But if the US side is doing the design by themselves or with their architects, so we give them at the beginning of the project, we give them a list and said, okay, these procedures are necessary to do this legal procedure. To get a permit, we need this design, we need this study, we need this and this and this. So the US side can work this, and when the papers are completed, they will take it to you, they will turn it to you, and we will give it to the legal to the authorities which are responsible for the legal permits. So in any case, indirect procedure, we are doing anything by us. It's our own job, own responsibility. Direct procedure and accelerated procedures, we are all also involved for the legal permits.
Okay, we have another question from Tammy Cinnamon asking, does Herr Hobel have any updates on the revisions of federal soil protection and contaminated sites ordinance and on the amendment of the landfill ordinance and the contaminated waste ordinance? Mental Verordnung.
I personally not, but I have the experts in our house. So we have a branch of civil engineering, and we are working for this, or PFC or other things, because it's very complicated at the moment. And in the next month also, or this month, also German law changes in this. So we are working for this to see the actual status at the moment. But it's not completed. We do not have a right way ahead, because the authorities which are responsible for these permits are also on a thin ice at the moment, I would say.
One thing you might mention is just the overall, I know you mentioned the beer chart of Germany, which was great. Also, you know, the LVBs in the area, Belmont in southern Germany, those each report, they have layers too. If you don't work commonly, you might not know that LVB and then go up to ABB, and then we have MOD and MOC. So there's different layers of the German government.
Yeah.
construction.
So we are so-called the base level. That means we are doing the design and we are doing all the strategic work is done of, for example, this acceleration procedure. This was negotiation between IMCOM and the Federal Ministry of Construction. So these are the different stages. I guess you have the same in the States. And here in Rana Palatini, ABB,
We have several members of the post here right now. And I don't know if you want to just quickly, members, chairman and other board members and the post president, if I didn't already say that. I work for the Army Corps of Engineers. I'm the program manager for Air Force work in Europe. And
If you could get people to come up, they could be seen on camera. Just anybody who's coming up, if you could talk just so they can hear you online too.
I think it might be just a great idea because we have member elections coming up. So if you are interested and you want to know about what we do, or if you're interested in the position, come talk to us. You know who we are. You can put a name with face.
Sure. Lieutenant Colonel Seth Black, I am the program's chair, although I am retiring in May, and so we are looking for a replacement. So you can continue getting great content like we presented today. So we are looking for volunteers.
Thanks. No?
no.
Lieutenant Colonel David Carlson, excuse me, I'm the military vice president. We have a civilian vice president and a military vice president, so I'm the military vice president.
Thanks.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chief Boobity. I don't have a position on the post. I pretty much stand as a post mentor. I help with a few things, but I'm currently elected director on the national board. So I help out as a liaison between what the national office is doing and the post, and I help fill out positions. We've got a number of different chair positions that I know are coming open on top of the elected positions like vice president, president, treasurer, and secretary. So here to serve you all and awesome turnout. Thank you very much.
Yeah. From a regional point.
So those that don't know, I'm the regional vice president for Europe. My name's Chris Leeson. I'm currently with Jacobs. I'm usually based out of the UK, find myself down here in Germany from time to time. But we will be looking to, this is a great turnout, so that's wonderful. Looking to make sure that, I think, I know that there's an event going on at Wiesbaden today, and there's actually another one going on in the UK this afternoon. So I know that there's a lot of discussion around trying to make sure that we get these decentralized or let's say, schedule deconfliction on the plan so that we've got events going on at different times. So everybody's got an opportunity to jump in here. But I want to thank host here for this great event, being able to get the technology working so that we're able to get this transmitted out. I think they're doing the same thing in the UK today. I don't know, are they doing this in Eastbound as well?
I think,
They are, they may be.
yeah.
So they're recording that one. That one's a good discussion going on today as well on the CSRA process through your engineers. So those that are in industry, that's kind of a big deal on all these projects. But really appreciate the turnout here today, all the work that's going on here, and you guys are saw with the elections coming up. If you're considering running or thinking about it, please do that. All these organizations, everything that goes on like this is based off of volunteers, except Jen gets paid a lot of money. But she gets the satisfaction of seeing a great turnout like this and being able to set up discussions for us to hear about technical as well as programmatic activities. Take part of. So.
So we do have a sign in. If you haven't signed in, stop by and sign in. I'll leave it up here. We offer continuing education credits. So please become a member. And if you aren't a member, we would love to have you, and I can put you in the right direction so you can sign up. So you can be on our mailing list. You can be ahead of the game and get all these announcements. We offer different participation levels from here to national, all over, all sorts, anything that you're interested in. It has to do with engineering, design, construction, whatever. There's a place for you. So we'd love to have you put your name down. We'll keep you in the loop. And if there's anybody else? Well, please introduce yourselves. Feel free to, and we hope to see you next month. Thanks.
Just that.
Wow.